Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Jess. It's been a while since my last update, obviously, and I'm sure those of you who do watch my videos are probably looking behind me and going, "This looks different." Jess isn't in her little corner anymore. No, this is actually all different because I have moved. I no longer live in the Philadelphia area. I now live in Manhattan, in New York City. Um, Otherwise, things have continued to just kind of roll along. As far as my transition goes, as of the end of August, it had been a year of transitioning, and you could probably remove about a month off of there before I really started on the medications themselves, onto HRT. Um, but everything's going well. Everything's going pretty well. Um, Things are developing and changing and stuff, and hormonal imbalances are still all over the place, but progress is being made. um, but that's really all I had to talk about when it comes to like updates on how things are going, and my move. Now my main focus that I want to talk about is a different kind of message, and I wanted to focus on a discussion about what happened last week, which clearly everybody is fully well aware of. um, what was it again? No, the presidency, the election. Everybody's aware of the election, clearly, because people won't shut the fuck up about it. But I wanted to take a moment to talk about it, not because, and bear with me. This isn't me like talking about one of the candidates and being like, this candidate is the best and everything. I can't stand either candidate. I think they're both terrible. I don't think either of them should have been an actual option for election. But unfortunately, the voters and the two parties have utterly failed us beyond anything they've done so far. The fact that that the United States and American population is still just fighting on party lines after this ridiculous show of an election is really saddening. Um, but more importantly, I wanted to talk about my status as being transgender with a girlfriend who is bisexual, living in New York City, and making these sorts of videos where I try to educate. Clearly, I am very deeply ingrained within the LGBT community. It's my people. um, and I try to help educate and inform as when I can. Um, but what I'm seeing lately is a lot of like hatred and vitriol and bile being spewed by the LGBT community. Just earlier today, I saw a uh, post on Facebook by Lizzie the Leslie, um, that was basically saying that anybody in the LGBT community that voted for Trump was letting the LGBT community down. And one of the commenters said, like, any LGBT person who voted for Trump doesn't belong in the LGBT community because you've, ruined everyone else's lives or something to that effect. And my issue is that people having different opinions from others has nothing to do with whether or not you are a member of the LGBT community. If you are gay, lesbian, bi, transgender, queer, asexual, whatever it is, if you are non straight, you are part of the LGBT community, regardless of what your opinion is. So, for other people to attack others within that community is the most idiotic thing I've ever seen, because we all need each other's help. We all need each other's support. We're supposed to be trying to grow as a people, not do what the other groups are doing and attack us. We get attacked by enough people. Don't attack ourselves. It's stupid. Um, but as far as the election itself go and the election results, I do want to say like one thing real quick, and that's that I very early on decided that I was not voting for either of the main presidential candidates. In fact, I didn't vote for a president at all. And the reason why I didn't do that is because I simply flat out refuse to vote for anyone who doesn't share my values. And none of the candidates did. I couldn't really, in good conscience, vote for any of them because I'm voting for somebody that stands against what I believe in some way or another. And quite frankly, I think they're both jokes. Um, but out of the two, if I had my option of which of the two I wanted to win, it's Trump. And a lot of LGBT people aren't going to understand that. And I know why they're not going to understand that. And the main reason they're not going to understand that is because just how much the the media as a whole that are very, very left-wing biased have just torn Trump to pieces and allowed Hillary to just skate on through like, yeah, she could do no wrong. And I want to say that because I have been somebody who is old enough to have this be my fourth presidential election I could vote in, if I so chose, and I was politically involved and following politics before I could even vote in my first election. I've been around the block long enough to know that the world isn't going to fall apart, the end isn't coming. And I remember very specifically the days of a Bush reelection possibility and the left wing losing their goddamn mind, the media losing their goddamn mind, and saying, like, oh my God, we gotta stop it or we're all gonna die. And I remember as well that all those polls said, oh, yeah, Bush is losing this election, definitely, no question. And then when he won, everybody was like, oh my God, the end is nigh, run away. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. And you can complain about whatever and say that Trump or that Bush wasn't a good president or whatever, and we can argue that till we're all blue in the face. And the same thing happened when Obama came into office, only it was the other side of the aisle screaming bloody murder that the end of the world is coming and that the United States as we know it is going to fall apart and be destroyed. And we're fine. We've all gone through some things. Our economy isn't doing great, and I'm struggling to find a job. Um, but we're all alive. We're all okay. And what really made me want to make this video wasn't even that hatred and vitriol and bile spewing that's coming forth, but the fact that there's not enough positivity out there. And what really, 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 really bothers me is the lack of positivity from those that many in the LGBT community turn to for that positivity. People like Lizzie the Leslie on Facebook, who has become this just hate-filled, vitriolic, bile spewing, just hammering Facebook with article after article after article about how the LGBT community is doomed and that we all need to work together. We all got to drink and we all got to panic. And it's incredibly disappointing to see because someone like that on Facebook, that group is supposed to be telling us everything's going to be all right. Don't worry. You're going to be okay. We still have each other. We're going to band together even if we don't know what's going to happen politically in terms of us and our rights. In the end, we're going to be okay. That's the message I want to hear. And that's the message I have for anybody that listens to this, watches this today, or tomorrow, or whenever you watch this. That's my message to you, is that we're all going to be okay. And what really got me sentimental was that I had a friend come into town from far away. She came in for a couple days, and me and my girlfriend took her to go see Kinky Boots on Broadway. Now, I cried watching Kinky Boots. I didn't cry because it was sad. I cried because it was beautiful. I cried because of the things that happened in that play made me feel made it feel like it was me. That, you know, uh, it just really deeply connected with me on a level. And I thought it was beautiful the way the characters all come around and they become accepting of one another. And it really turns things kind of on, like flips them end over end, kind of, and that the the movie there's a movie about it too if you want to watch it. It's just, it's very good as well. But the play revolves around this concept of these cross dressers, these drag queens, um, and their failure to like really be accepted into society, and the way somebody turns around and realizes that he could cater to that population with his business, people that work for his business and his friends and things like that, just hammer on him, make him feel, stupid and terrible for doing something like this, and embarrass him. And he turns kind of against that population that he's counting on to save his business. He turns against that drag queen population. And the end result of everything is that it isn't about him coming to accept them, but them coming to accept him, and show him that, no, we accept you for who you are, even if you are not brave enough to stand up against these people and things like that, because that's what we should be doing as people. We should be supporting each other regardless of what's going on. I don't think less of LGBT people because they voted for Trump or voted for Hillary when I refused to vote for either of them. I certainly don't, you know, feel like malice towards somebody who voted for Clinton, who her entire career has been anti-gay marriage. She has been against the LGBT community until just recently, when it became politically expedient for her to flip over and change her mind. And for some reason, she is the LGBT pro candidate. I'm really confused by that, considering Trump's entire career has been that very much, I don't care. I don't care if you're gay. I don't care if you're transgender and want to use the correct bathroom. Whatever. I don't care. He held up an LGBT flag at one of his rallies, and people are still hammering on him like he is the most evil, vile man to ever walk the earth. He's already come out and said he's not going to get rid of, you know, Obamacare. He already said he's not going after gay marriage. He said there's no reason for him to. It's settled by the court. Like, it's good. That's exactly what you should be wanting to hear from a president, especially if you're an LGBT member. The fact of the matter is that most of the time, when it comes to the president, it doesn't matter who gets elected. Most of the time, they're going to do the exact same things. We can go back through history and look and see they do the exact same things. Bush was all about like, oh, we need smaller government. Then what did he do? He grew the government. We need a lesser spending. What did he do? He raised spending. Then when Obama came around, he's all like, oh, I'm going to close Guantanamo and Gitmo, and I'm going to end the wars, and I'm going to make healthcare, free, and I'm going to do all this stuff. And he didn't do any of it. The most he did was pass that damn Affordable Care Act that made everything less affordable than it was before, and screwed over everybody's health care. Why? Because the whole plan, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But Trump isn't going to come in and wipe that out either. He's going to continue going down the exact same route, because that's how government works. The two different parties just feed off of what each other did. So while they're over here like, I can't believe you would try to pass something like that. That's ridiculous. We're against this. We need to stand up against you. But then when that other party gets it passed, and I'm like, haha, victorious, the other side just kind of like whimpers off a little bit. They still are like, well, but we should get that overturned. Like, we should try really hard. And then they only kind of half-ass do. And then when they get into power, then they run around going, aha! And everybody's like, well, aren't you gonna get rid of it? No! That it would be too difficult to get rid of that. And that's exactly what's happening now. My camera's doing all kinds of wonky stuff. But that's exactly what's happening now. The end of the world is not coming. Nothing is changing because now Trump's in office. Nothing would have changed because Hillary was in office. They're all idiots. And the two parties love to get more power. And then when the other people get it, they're like, hey, we got more power for free. I mean, we didn't even have to work for it. they don't have the best intentions of everyone in mind, but it is what we have. So please, please, for for the sake of all that is humanity, you need to stop and think and listen and realize that people are just people. That person next to you, next door to you, in the next state over, somewhere in this country or even in the world who's vehemently against whoever you voted for, and you're vehemently against whoever they voted for, is still a person. They're still a human being. Sometimes they're still part of the same community you are. To turn on them and to be spiteful and hate filled isn't going to accomplish anything. We need to come together as people. We need to bond. We need to grow. We need to strive for excellence. We need to strive for bigger and better things rather than fight each other over something that doesn't even matter. The important thing is that there will be a tomorrow. There will be a day after that. There will be a day after that. There will be a day after that. Next year will come. Next century will come. Next millennium will come. And the fact that this election went the way it did isn't going to change that. So we could sit here and yell and scream and pitch a fight and throw things at each other. Or, just a thought, we could all come together. We could all hold hands. We can stop worrying about who voted for which person and instead focus on how do we make tomorrow a better day than today was? How do we make sure that when we arrive at tomorrow, we can look back at yesterday and say, we made progress? I wish very, very much that the rest of the LGBT community felt the same way I do. But unfortunately, as is readily apparent to anyone that goes on Facebook, regardless of what side you're on, if you go look at the comments on your Facebook, at the posts on your Facebook, at the vitriol and hatred being spouted out left and right, people aren't coming together. People are divided. People want to be divided. People are happy to be divided and yell and scream and feel like the rest of the world is against them. And that is not the key to improving anything. If you're watching this, do me a favor. Share these ideas with those people. Find your friends, find your acquaintances, find those people on Facebook that you don't think are too far gone, and challenge them to accept someone else for who they are. Like, really accept them for who they are. Not, oh no, I accept them because they're transgender and I like transgender people. No, I mean accept them for who they are at the core of their being. And even better, challenge them to do that with somebody on the other side. It's going to be the most difficult challenge they've ever faced, and most people, that was my phone, most people are going to refuse to do it. But on the off chance you might get it to work, I think it's worth a shot. Anyway, um, thank you very much, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.